Yo, what's up, gamers? So, I walked into the breakroom today and Olivia from accounting has turned the whole table into a miniature city. There were sea paper roads, paperclip power lines, a coffee mug labeled water tower, a stapler labeled city hall, and a napkin pile labeled landfill, which honestly might be the most accurate part of the simulation. So I'm like, Olivia, what does the breakroom city need to log in before I can fix the sewage? And Olivia goes, because regional corporation requires authentication. Oh boy, that is not urban planning, that is Wi-Fi hostage negotiation. But that is basically the story of SimCity 2013. EA took one of PC gaming's most beloved city building franchises, a city built around creativity, planning, and control, and turned the reboot into an always online product. Then launch day arrived, and the servers became the first natural disaster. So now I welcome you to the Janitor Files, a series where we mop up gaming's biggest disasters, corporate decisions, broken promises, and the messes the industry does not clean up, because I'm here to do it for them. Before we get into this, do me a favor, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. Did SimCity 2013 fail because always online was a bad idea, or because EA forced it where it didn't belong? So let's grab a mop, because Olivia's city has a traffic jam at the microwave, the sewage system needs a login token, and we are cleaning up the city builder that couldn't connect. Come along. SimCity was not just another PC game, the series helped define what a city builder even was. The original SimCity launched in 1989 from Will Wright and Maxis. It was originally called Micropolis, and part of the problem was that it did not play like a normal game. It has no final boss, no princesses, no victory screen where the mayor jumps in the air because traffic has been defeated. You could not really win SimCity in the traditional way. You just built, managed, adjusted, destroyed, rebuilt, and slowly watched the city grow because of your decisions. And that was the magic. Players controlled zoning, taxes, power, roads, services, disasters, and occasionally monster attacks, because apparently city planning was not stressful enough already. SimCity 2000 made the formula deeper, SimCity 3000 expanded the management, and SimCity 4 became a fan favorite, with bigger regions, more complexity, and a modding community that helped keep it alive for years. The series also helped build the wider Max's identity, leading to spin-offs like SimAnt, SimCopter, Streets of SimCity, and eventually The Sims becoming its own monster success. So by the time SimCity 4 released in 2003, this franchise had history, it had trust, it had cities who saw SimCity as the place where they became tiny gods with zoning problems. Then the mainline series went quiet for years, so when EA and Maxis finally brought SimCity back with a modern reboot, expectations were high. This was not just another release, this was the comeback of one of PC gaming's defining simulation brands. And on paper, the pitch sounded incredible. So when the new SimCity finally got announced, it looked like the franchise was about to get the modern reboot fans had been waiting for. SimCity 2013 was announced as a fresh start for the franchise, a modern reboot after years without a proper mainline entry. It had full 3D cities, curved roads, a cleaner visual style, regional play, multiplayer cooperation, and the big selling point, the glass box engine. Glassbox was supposed to make the city feel more alive, instead of hiding every system behind abstract numbers. The game would show little agents moving through the world, Sims driving to work, water flowing, power moving, sewage traveling, traffic building, services responding. If your city had a problem, you could watch that problem move through the streets. That was the dream. A smarter SimCity, a connected SimCity, a city builder where different cities in a region could share power, trade resources, send workers, move pollution, and cooperate like a tiny digital metropolitan nightmare. For a franchise built around systems, that sounded exciting. The pitch was not just, here's SimCity again, it was, here's SimCity for the connected era. And that connected part came with a permanent login. And that is where the whole relationship between the player, the city, and the company started to change. At launch, SimCity required a constant internet connection. Even if you wanted to play alone, even if you wanted to build one quiet disaster suburb at 2 in the morning with nobody judging your sewage layout, you had to connect to EA servers. EA and Maxis argued that online was part of the design. They pointed to regional simulation, cloud saves, multiplayer regions, leaderboards, global challenges, and the need to keep cities synced together. But many players saw something else. they saw Always Online DRM wearing a little construction helmet, because SimCity had always been the kind of game people could sink into alone. Experiment, pause, rebuild, destroy everything with meteors, start over. The player was the mayor, the city was theirs, and if they wanted to bankrupt a town because they placed one road like a cooked needle, that was between them and the zoning board. They did not need a server's permission, so players asked the obvious question: did SimCity really need to be always online, or was EA forcing a solo-friendly city builder onto servers because the business wanted control? That was the trust break. Players were not asking for a raid queue, they were trying to place a sewage pipe. Then launch day arrived, and the sewage pipe hit the server room. SimCity launched in North America on March 5th, 2013, and almost immediately, the servers melted. Players faced long queues, failed logins, crashes, heavy latency, and had cities that failed to save or disappeared completely. Some players waited 30 minutes, some waited hours, some could not play at all. Imagine buying a city builder, installing it, starting it up, and spending launch night waiting outside your own city like the mayor forgot his badge. That is what made the disaster so absurd. This was not an MMO raid night. This was not a battle royale server rush. This was SimCity. People wanted to zone neighbors, connect power, place a water pump, and accidentally create traffic conditions that violated several international treaties. Instead, they were stuck behind login failures, and because the game required that connection, the launch problems hit everyone. Solo players, multiplayers, people trying to build quietly, people trying to play with friends, everyone was standing in the same digital lobby, waiting for the city to remember it existed. That turned the always online debate from theory into evidence. Every queue, every failed login, every missing city, and every lost save made the requirement look less like the future and more like the breakroom router wearing a mayor sash. And EA had to start scrambling. First they threw more servers at the problem, then they started turning pieces of the city off. To keep things running, EA and Maxis increased server capacity, worked around the clock, and started disabling features to reduce load, like the leaderboards, achievements, filters, and cheetah speed. Now cheetah speed might sound minor, but city builders are all about pacing. Sometimes you watch a city breathe, sometimes you speed time up because you need money, or the sweet relief of crawling out of budget debt. So when cheetah speed got disabled, players were not just losing a button, they were losing part of the game's rhythm. EA did not just have a server problem, they had a city builders where features could be turned off because the servers were struggling. That is a wild thing for a city simulation. The traffic speed, leaderboards, achievements, and mayoral patience were apparently all sharing one extension cord. Amazon even temporarily stopped selling digital copies, and EA eventually offered activated owners a free game as compensation. But when your brand new city builder needs a free apology game attached to it, that is an emergency with a receipt. Even when players finally got inside the game, the problems did not stop at the login screen. The cities themselves felt smaller than what longtime fans have been waiting for. For many longtime fans, one of the biggest disappointments was the city size. The maps in SimCity 2013 felt small, much smaller than what players expected for years of SimCity 4, where scale, regions, and long-term growth were part of the fun. In SimCity 2013, you could build upward, increase density, specialize, try to make every block count, but the physical space felt cramped. There was no bigger map options to fix that. Regional play was supposed to be the answer. Instead of building one giant city, you would build multiple connected cities in a region. One could focus on industry, another on tourism, another on education, another on services. That idea could have worked, but it meant that smaller cities needed the regional systems to work extremely well. And after launch week, players were already skeptical of anything that depended on the servers behaving. The city lots felt less like a bold design choice and more like somebody took the mayor's desk, cut it in half, and said, "Do not worry, the other half is in the cloud." The cities were smaller, but somehow the problems had excellent zoning. And the engine that was supposed to make those problems feel smarter was Glassbox. Now the Glassbox engine was supposed to make SimCity 2013 feel smarter, more visible, more sustainable, more alive. But once players got their hands on it, the simulation did not always match the dream. Traffic became infamous, cars clogged one road while alternate routes sat empty. Service vehicles clamped together, emergency vehicles got stuck, garbage trucks failed to reach places efficiently. And because so many systems depended on roads, traffic problems could cascade into everything else. A jammed road did not mean angry commuters. It could affect fire response, garbage collection, services, and the whole rhythm of the city. The game promised tiny digital citizens with routines, but sometimes it felt like the whole city was staffed by Roombas with tax forms. Players also questioned how individual the agents really were. Were they Sims persistent little people with homes, jobs, and routines? Or were they temporarily simulation particles wearing tiny pants? Maxes patched pathfinding and service behavior over time, but the damage was already in the gap between the promise and the reality. SimCity 2013 sold players on a smarter city, then players watched traffic behave like every citizen had given directions by a cursed GPS. So the game now had 3 problems stacked on top of each other: unreliable servers, cramped cities, and a simulation that did not fully deliver. Then came the twist that made the original always online argument look even worse. In 2014, more than a year after launch, SimCity finally received offline single-player mode through Update 10. They can control multiple cities in a region offline, and after downloading the update, they no longer needed a constant internet connection for basic solo play. Online features still existed separately, but the city building experience could finally work without being chained to the server. That was a huge moment, because offline mode did not just add convenience, it changed how players looked at the entire launch argument. For a year, that game had been defended as connected experience built around online systems, then offline mode arrived, and players saw the receipt sitting on the breakroom table. Players did not just see a feature, they saw a question mark stapled to every earlier excuse. Now, offline mode did not magically fix every design issue, but it proved the basic city experience could exist without constant server dependency. Players did not hate connected features existing, they hated being forced through them. And the aftermath showed just how badly the forced decision damaged the franchise. SimCity 2013 did not prove city builders were dead. The audience was still there. The problem was that SimCity lost its grip on them. The reboot damaged the franchise reputation, and there was no major PC mainline SimCity after it. The SimCity name continued in other forms, like mobile, but the traditional PC series never recovered in the same way. Then in 2015, EA closed Maxis and Reville, the studio behind the reboot, and that same year, City Skylines launched. That game offered larger scale, offline play, strong modding support, and a focus on giving players control again. For many city builder fans, it became the answer SimCity 2013 was supposed to be. City Skylines did not become popular because people were tired of city builders. It became popular because people still wanted one. They wanted one that did not make the mayor wait in the server queue to fix traffic. That is why SimCity 2013 became part of the bigger always online backlash of the 2010s. When a game gives a player a world to build, but makes access to that world dependent on outside systems, the player starts asking who really owns the city, and that is where the mop bucket lands. SimCity 2013 did not collapse because people stopped loving city builders. It collapsed because EA turned a game about building cities into a game about waiting for servers. That is the core failure. SimCity was always about control. You controlled zoning, taxes, roads, power, water, services, disasters. You made the plan, you made the mistakes, you watched the consequences. But in 2013, before players could even make their own city fall apart, they had to hope the servers worked first. The servers turned the design choice into a launch disasters, the small cities, flat box issues, and later offline mode made the original promise harder to defend. SimCity 2013 proves something simple. If players buy a game about control, the first thing you should give them is control. Now we're back in the break room. Olivia's tiny city finally connected. The microwave screen says, "Welcome, Mayor." So when I reach for coffee, the microwave changed to offline mode available 1 year later. So I'm like, Olivia, did the city just admit it could have done this without the server? And Olivia says, the budget prefers not to answer that. That is the most EA City Council meeting I ever heard. Well, that's all I got. I gotta bounce before Olivia makes me pay property taxes in the mop closet, then enables cheetah speed on my lunch break. But before I go, do me a favor. Hit like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want more gaming disasters cleaned up from the break room, and comment down below. Did SimCity 2013 fail because always online was a bad idea, or because EA forced it where it didn't belong? This is Scruffy the Janitor signing off. Peace out.